Well, I do want to say I appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. I'm a big fan of what your content and stuff.
Hmm, no problem. Thank you.
Well, if you don't mind, people that might not know you, could you briefly tell me like what you're known for?
Uh, Online, and I tend to go by the name Duke, and I have a YouTube channel, Experimentalldea, where and I'll occasionally make Minecraft content and such. I would say my primary series is my World Update series, which is on my single player world.
Okay. Yeah, and you're also part of EndTech as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm also part of EndTech.
Okay. Sorry, I've got kind of a cold, so my voice is just kind of scratchy, but I've got some. I've been drinking like tea and honey to help it.
Hmm.
But so how did you originally get into Minecraft?
Let's see. Like back in like sometime around what it was is like around 2012, probably near August, because I remember starting play the game into around version 1.3.2. Basically, like I tried out the demo version of the game, played like the demo, half a dozen times over before it finally ends up going ahead and being like, I need to buy this game.
Hmm.
And well, fast forward to today, I'm still playing this game into all these years later and such.
Yeah, that's a long time. Since 20, have you been playing like pretty consistently since then, or kind of on and off?
Um, Somewhat consistently. Like when I initially started playing, I was playing in single player, and then I very quickly switched to playing on public multiplayer servers, and then I got burned that way because the public multiplayer servers were incompetently ran, and they lost their world files and such. And I was just like, okay, if no one can do this server stuff right, then I will have to. And then I started my own server right around like December 2012 to early 2013 and such, and ran that all the way until like April 2016 when I shut it down. But yeah, I was primarily playing multiplayer during that time, and I'd also like play a lot of mini game servers and so forth. And then after I shut down my public server, I basically like went on a hiatus from Minecraft for about a year and until I got to around to wanting to play the game again, and well, I started my single player world and uploaded the first world update episode in July of 2017. So yeah, it's been
The journey.
it's been a good journey so far, I would say.
Uh, you're you're really good with dates. Like if someone were to ask me when I like started my world or whatever, I'd have to go back and like look at my channel to see when I uploaded
I'm
episodes or whatever.
actually not good at dates at all. I'm horrible at dates. I literally like read up some notes for myself to reference
Uh,
and such because I am horrible with the fine details. So it always helps to have some written notes out.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, well, what originally made you want to like buy the game? Like, what stood out to you where you're like, okay, I have to get this officially now?
Well, like funny story and such. Like back when I was like younger and such, and I heard about like Minecraft. I just heard like the name, and I'm just like Minecraft. What is that? Oh, I'm sorry, my phone. I gotta mute that.
Oh, you're good.
But I
Mine's
heard
going off
about
too.
Minecraft, and so then I'm just like, what is this? All I heard about was the name at that point. I thought like Minecraft. That sounds like some sort of World of Warcraft thing, and so I ignored it. But eventually, it's if I probably it's through YouTube or something, kind of got into it. I played the demo to death, and it was just like, it's just like I've always gravitated to sandbox like games. Like back in the day, I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon free and such. Zoo Tycoon, those kind of games where it's just like you build up something from nothing
Hmm.
and such. So yeah, basically, when I started playing the game, I was completely hooked. So you know, I probably played it an unhealthy amount as of back then.
Yeah, I did too. I think that's about the time that I got into it as well, was 2012, or maybe a little after, maybe like in 2013 sometime. And what stood out to me the most was how like you can dig so far underground, and like the world that you see isn't like that's not all it not only does it keep generating, but you can also dig underground and go very. I'm not sure why that like impressed me so much, but just from like memory around that time, like there wasn't a lot of games that had that much depth. It seemed like, but it was like so Minecraft was like such a simple game, but you can also do so many like and I didn't even know about redstone back then either. I just thought it was cool. You could dig into these like and find these like underground dungeons and caves and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, when I originally first started playing, like shoot, I was like scared to go cave. It's just like it's like the game sucked me in that much and such to where like I didn't want to step foot inside of any caves. Nowadays I just run through them like they're nothing and such, and it yeah, it's just wow,
Yeah.
like how far everything has come and such, and
Yeah, I'm almost tempted at times to go back and play the older updates, but I don't think it would be the same. Like when you first get into Minecraft, or when I first got into Minecraft, I was kind of the same way to where like I would take my time caving and lighting up everything, and then like I was terrified of skeletons because um, even though their shots were bad back then, and you didn't have a shield and all that, like zombies too, I was like, yeah, I know that feeling like where you're you're like, I don't know about this.
have you played the game in hardcore and at all ever in the past?
No, I actually only recently started playing hardcore.
Yeah,
Just
because hardcore will give you that feeling again, where like because you're worried that something will jump out or a creeper will go sneak up behind you and just like one shot you.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. I haven't,
So it brings a lot of that scariness back into the game when you're playing on hardcore. At least until, of course, you get used to it, and then, well, you know.
yeah. So what would you say your favorite part of Minecraft is like currently?
Uh, hmm. I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if I necessarily have like a favorite part about Minecraft. I mean, obviously, when it comes down to like my play style, I kind of lean towards the kind of technical side of the game. Certainly into there are other people who are much more technical and with this game than I am and such. But I guess like in an abstract sense, the things that I like to do the most in this game is actually like make progress on projects and builds and such. Um, you know, rather than like just jumping around on my build and such, or on my red zone all the time.
Yeah,
So, like I swear I think I like I don't know if you ever saw that meme, but like time spent actually doing real redstone and time spent parkouring on your redstone. That is so true. That is so true.
yeah, yeah. I'll do that even today when I'm like trying to figure out something to do or something to like. I know I'm planning to do something. I'll just be jumping around in my main storage, just like opening chests for no reason. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Um, so what do you dislike about my like? What's the thing that you find the most like annoying or frustrating about Minecraft?
As of late, with me working on a sword system and such for my single player, I would have to say it's the inconsistencies with the game when it's unloaded. Because there's like bugs in this game where like if you unload the game at just the wrong moment when a piston is supposed to be retracting, like the piston forgets its update and so forth, and that screws with a lot of redstone. So I guess the most annoying thing to me is technical bugs that introduce inconsistencies in the well-defined mechanics.
Yeah,
Like if I could have things my way, I would like fix these unload bugs, and additionally, I'd probably also advocate for let's see, I would like portal chunk loading tickets to survive restarts. That would be amazing if that happened.
Yeah.
Because, if you had that and presumably the game properly saved all the data it needed to and reconstructed it properly, then, single player, multiplayer, you'd be able to build like binary storages and like say single player, save and quit, open your world, save and quit, do that over and over again while it's running and it wouldn't break. Theoretically, if everything was handled properly. So, I mean, yeah, so when it comes down to the most annoying thing about the game, it would have to just be the little inconsistencies and issues that pop up.
Yeah.
If you asked me a few years ago, it probably would have been like ghost blocks. So, basically bugs with the game are what annoy me the most.
Yeah, I get that. Like the unloading thing is, and I suffer from that myself on single player because I used to host my world on like a local server, but I got to where I just couldn't do that. So I started running it as like just a normal single player, and yeah, saving and quitting is annoying when you have like a chunk loader and your minecarts just get stuck when you upload the game up again, and you
Yeah.
have to like fly over and get the minecart and put it back on the thing, and yeah, definitely get that. Well, I was my next thing is actually talking about the could you talk about the benefits and drawbacks of single player?
Well, I guess like the first benefit of single player would be that like all that control, because like you get to decide every block that gets placed and every block that gets broken. That control can also be kind of a curse, because you can not really feel all that creative and not really feel like doing much, and well, nothing gets done. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say for me, like part of me really likes to, I have like an idea or a vision and I'm just like, this is exactly how it needs to be. And, a single player is like a perfect place for that. Whereas in multiplayer, it's more community focused and such, people working together with different ideas and compromising on themes and, and coming up with, what's the best for the server as a whole.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would probably like, I mean, maybe not nowadays and such, because I'm part of a tech server and such with EndTech, but in the past, um, like when I played on public, buckets and spigot servers and such, uh, having that worry of like the world could just go away tomorrow and you'd not know and you wouldn't be able to get a download of it or anything and such, like that's kind of scary, to where it's just like in single player, at the very least, you control the entire environment. So presumably, if you back up your single player world, make proper backups, you'll never lose your progress. So, you know,
Yeah. That
but
fear.
yeah, yeah. And generally speaking, I would say that fear isn't really existent in the technical community and such. Although and tech has had we did accidentally end up Yeet season one.
Yeah.
Really exposed into of issues into with a system we thought was robust. So,
Yeah. The podcast I did before this was with Nick. I'm not sure if you listened to it or not, but yeah,
yeah.
he went on and told me all about the mishaps. But yeah, I mean, I think that fear of losing the world is there, like even in single player. Um, if something gets corrupted, but like you said, if you take backups, and that pertains to multiplayer as well. Like if the server host or whoever is run the server is competent in taking backups, then things are all right. Because you want to know, like, if you're investing this much time into this, then you want it to stay. Like, you don't want it to go anywhere.
Yeah. It's like even back in the day when I was running my own public server, running off of like Bucket and then later Spigot. I'd I'd like to say I took backups fairly seriously. So the server had local backups, and then I'd download like the backups every week or so, and call me crazy, call me a data hoarder, but I still have all the backups I downloaded, so I could literally go back through time and see the server's world at different points in development if I wanted to. So I generally don't like into like deleting ends of data if I can avoid it and such. So I tend to be kind of a data hoarder.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I get that.
but
I'm kind of the same way with my single player because I'll take backups and I'll normally keep like four or five backups, and then I'll upload them to like a Google Drive as well in case.
yeah, I do this. I do the same with like my world update world. I keep like a backup on like MediaFire and such, so that way, in case like something catastrophic happened, it got deleted off my computer, and if it got deleted off my external hard drive and everything, and then hope presumably I'd at least be able to recover that. So
Yeah. So do you prefer single player over multiplayer?
I'd say I spend most of my time in single player. I I guess it's more so. It's not so much a preference and such because I could like spend end of the time in single. I could like reallocate the time I spend in single player and like dedicate all my time to multiplayer. But I guess I'm just kind of like what would be the word, like sunk costs almost.
Mm-hmm.
And like I have ideas for things I want to do in my single player, and those ideas don't really make a lot of sense to do in a multiplayer sense. So like on a multiplayer server, building individual bases, I mean, sure you can do that, but and this kind of gets back to like the benefits and drawbacks of single player versus like multiplayer. Like in multiplayer, if you want to, like, if your vision is to like make a base that automates everything, well, for one, a lot of that stuff's going to be redundant in multiplayer, and number two, it's probably going to eat up a good amount of the performance, and that's not going to be fair to the other players. So it's kind of a case of like, well, there's benefits and drawbacks to playing both, um, or either and such. But yeah, I would say, honestly, like the best thing and it would probably be playing both. Because I get to play single player, have that control, have all the benefits of being in single player, being able to like keep it my vision, and then I can like work on a group project with everyone on EndTech in a multiplayer server. So it's you get like, yeah. I think I'm not explaining it well, but I think you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. The best of both worlds, and I think these days I prefer single player over multiplayer. Obviously, I haven't really been much active on Ingenium server that I'm a part of, but yeah, there are definitely benefits to doing both. And on a multiplayer server, you can being part of that's also really fun for a lot of people because you can make like exponential progress much quicker than you could in single player. So it's
Yeah, because like with multiple people, there is with multiple people you can make like you can do things in multiplayer that you could never feasibly achieve in single player as just one player. But when you got
yeah,
a group of people working together, the scale of things that you can accomplish together and stuff is like massive, and that's like that's an amazing thing to be a part of.
yeah, yeah. You can make a lot more like something that would take probably like months in single player. You can do in on a server with other people in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
But then there's that drawback to like, well, maybe it didn't turn out how you imagined it, but that's kind of what you're like. You kind of sign up for that as being part of a server. Like you decide together what you want to do. But in single player, you can, like you said, you can have your own vision on how you want things to go, and you make every decision to, and any change is up to you. You don't have to ask anyone. You can just do it how exactly you want to do.
yeah.
So with the World Series that you've been doing, how long does an episode like a world update episode normally take to put together?
Well, let's see. As of late, I think I've been averaging like about 4 episodes a year, so I guess about 3 months per episode averaged. I would like to do them more frequently, but as of every time until I plan on trying to like make things come out more frequently, I end up just spending more time on them and such, and like not actually achieving that goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a world update, and if in order to like get enough stuff and just together into for a time lapse, to fill like a 3 to 5 minute time lapse. Generally speaking, takes like 2 to 4 months, depending on how much I'm playing single player. Sometimes I'll go weeks where I'm just not really playing much single player, and then other times, I'll spend like a week or two into like exclusively playing single player. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I think I'd like with my series, I'd try to like aim to put out an episode every month. Like that's where I've gotten to now, opposed to my earlier goals of like, yeah, try and put an episode out every 2 weeks. But then I got to where I was like forcing myself to do a bunch of stuff and grind like when I wasn't enjoying it. And I think one of the biggest things of having a single player world that you play on, like even if you weren't making content on it, it's important to you make sure you're enjoying it, because if you're grinding and grinding and grinding and you stop enjoying it, then you get burnt out pretty quick.
Yeah, and I've experienced that in the past because when I had my public server, I did a let's play on it and such. Actually, 2 let's plays, one on the first map and then one on the second map. And I could tell you right now, that let's play did suck a lot of fun out of the game for me, and because because I was trying to like show everything that I was doing and so forth, and it added like a barrier to doing the thing I wanted to do. So when I start up my single player, I'm just like, well, I got these cool ideas. I think, I'd like to show this off. What would be the best way to show it off? Well, let's play wasn't, all that great of a way of doing it. So the world update format was essentially born as infrequent, basically as a format with infrequent episodes, but with the goal of them being highly focused and dense with content. Hopefully, that's been at least the goal.
Yeah. No, well, I
So
think so far you've definitely achieved that, and I think like when you put out a world update episode, you know you're gonna get a bunch of stuff to watch in there, and like opposed to a normal let's play where okay, today we're gonna make a furnace array, or today we're gonna make a like a tree farm, like one project or something, and so like your format of world updates, I think appeals to a much bigger or a much like more technical audience, at least because they know how long things take. So it's like when you put that much work into stuff, you're like people can really see like, okay, yeah, I understand why that episode or this episode took so long to come out, because like you got a lot of stuff done.
yeah. Well, with world update, I try to not like waste a lot of time explaining stuff that honestly most technical players probably already know. So
Mm.
like with world update and like with my videos in general, and if someone else has like a video on a contraption or a thing, I'll just like link to that and reference that rather than like spend like 5 or 10 minutes in my own video badly explaining it.
Yeah, yeah, I'll mostly do the same thing, and I think people like like I said, I think it appeals to a different audience, but it's an audience that I think I'd rather have than just like the generic Minecraft YouTube viewer that I can't think of anyone in particular,
For
but
lack of a better word, casuals.
yeah, like casuals, yeah, I guess is a good one. And I think what I've tried to do with my series is kind of in between to where like casuals could watch episodes, because mine are more focused on like each episode being about something, but um I like the world update format so much so that like all like my episodes have kind of started to be like that, or maybe they have been like that because they won't come out for maybe a month or two.
Hmm.
um but that's what I find most enjoying too, is like putting out an episode or a world update video, and you can see like, okay, this is being put out and I'm happy with like how much progress I've shown in it, instead of it just being like a casual like here's a quick video, episode 1 or 2 or 3, whatever.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with doing like more traditional style let's plays. I will say like personally my own viewing habits on YouTube. I don't watch a lot of let's plays. Um, it's just like nowadays it's just like my time and of it's limited to where it's just like, can I really justify sitting here like watching a 30-minute Hermitcraft episode? Probably not. I'll watch the recap.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think we're both similar in that sense that we like to see a little bit more progress, maybe. And yeah, I mean, you're right that like there are viewers out there that like the like Hermitcraft or casual type episodes, but uh,
Yeah.
I think that's what stands out to me is like the world update episodes that you put out are just appeal to a different audience, but I like it a lot more as well, and that's why I like doing styles like that too.
I'd like to think the best part of my world update series is the time lapses.
Oh
Those
yeah,
I feel like have to be like the best part and such. Um, yeah, generally speaking, is when it gets to the live commentary section, there's like a viewership drop off. uh, that's kind of like the thing about the world update format, even though it's like the world update format suffers from this sort of like fundamental flaw where each video needs two hooks. So you're familiar with like generally speaking, when someone clicks on a video, the content creator tries to like hook them in. So within the first 10 seconds, give them that hook. Well, for a world update episode, you need to hook the viewer at the time lapse, and then when it switches to live commentary, you need to hook them again and not have them click off. So
yeah,
it kind of makes things more difficult. Although as of late and such, it seems like at least according to my audience retention statistics, not as many people are dropping off after the time lapse now and such. So it seems like the improvements and changes I've been making to how you know, I like record the live commentary section and such has been helping.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's just a testament to the update video content that you put out. That like people are like if they've watched up to this point, then they're like, okay, there's going to be a time lapse, or there's going to be something here, and then I want to keep watching because I know like there's a sufficient amount of stuff that is going to be showed off this episode or this video.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything you regret doing or not doing in your world?
Hmm. I regret not making as much progress as I possibly could. That would probably be my regret and such, because like I addressed it in like a world update in one of the world update episodes, but I was basically like I recognized that the way I was playing my single player world earlier was really hampering my progress, because I had a focus on like primarily permanent infrastructure projects. And that all sounds good on paper. It's just like, oh, I'm not wasting my time building like temporary farms that I'll have to tear down later. But the thing you don't see in that equation and such, or the thing I didn't see in that equation at the time was just like, you know, like what's better, spending tens of hours chopping down trees manually for wood, or spending like 6 to 8 hours building a tree farm, a temporary tree farm to get you all the wood. And when
Yeah,
I started looking at it like that, I realized like, dang, I'm wasting a lot of my time doing grindy crap when I should just build these quick farms, get some resources together. That way I can actually build and fuel the permanent infrastructure projects that I want to do.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's just something that like content creators run into if you don't do it full time. Like if that isn't your primary income, especially because you kind of have to do other things and there's other things to worry about. So I think people that do it full time, it's probably easier to justify spending like hours and hours doing a handful of things because like okay, I put out this video, I'll be able to have a kind of a reward from it to an extent. But if you don't do it full time, then you're kind of just doing it for your enjoyment, and that just comes
Hmm.
back to like you got to make sure you're still enjoying it, or you'll lose like motivation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that leads kind of into my next question, which is what gives you the most motivation to keep playing?
Um, I don't know. As of late, probably it's of like the comments on like my world update episodes. It's just like I'll look at something and I'll be like, maybe like you've heard this from like artists or whatever and such. I'm not like a painter or a drawer myself, but it's just like you make something and all you can see is like all the imperfections in it, and when you put it out, you're just like, I don't know if this is all that good, and then people receive it well. So I guess that gives me a fair amount of motivation. It's just like, okay, it looks like I'm on the right track here.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same way, and a lot of times I'll be editing and like snipping things in the episode, so I'm like watching the clips back, and I'm like, God, should I even put this out? Like, this is this even good? And then I'll have a pretty good reception from it, and I'll be like, okay,
Hmm.
I guess there's some sentiment to this that people are enjoying. So I'll, and that gives me like words of encouragement are great.
Yeah.
Well, what excites you most about the future of your world?
Um, can you say again? Is it what did you say? Because a part of it didn't come through on my end.
Oh, my bad. Um, what excites you most, or yeah, like what about the future of your world is exciting to you?
I would say the most exciting thing on the horizon. Well, don't know if I want to use the term horizon, but I'd say the most exciting thing in such would be the storage system project for my single player. I'm trying to get it done this year and such, and I'm making some decent progress. So I'm hoping like maybe late summer and it'll be ready to build my single player. I don't know. That might be one of those things that ages poorly, but like I've been like working on my storage system project for my single player on and off for I think it's almost going on almost 2 years now. It's just like, and I'm just like, I need to get this done because I wanna move on to like other projects. Like I have an idea for what I want to do with my Never network, for example. So it's just like I got other project ideas that I want to accomplish. So yeah, the thing I'm looking forward to the most, at least this year, is finishing storage system and such, because that's going to be very valuable for my world. I've gone without a storage system for quite a while.
Yeah.
And like a tip is for anyone who has like a single player world, you're planning on like designing your own storage system and so forth. Go ahead and like build like say multi-item sorter V4 and stuff, and use that as a temporary storage system because I guarantee you your storage system project will probably take longer than you are expecting. And in the meantime, don't torture yourself to an environment of no storage system. So Uh, so yeah, if anything, if I could go back in time, I'd tell myself build a temporary storage system because not only would it improve my quality of life and such when playing single player, it would also give me valuable experience of like how do I use my storage system, what kind of what would I look for in my permanent storage system. So um, but yeah, as with many things in life, the best advice and stuff is just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it means you're doing something right though, because it's taken you a long time to kind of put it all together, but you have people interested in what you're doing, so I think that's exciting for people to watch too, is to especially people that like storage tech.
Yeah, as of late, since I myself is a really like storage tech. Like I'll keep up with almost since of like every new Swords Tech related thing that gets like posted to say the Swords Tech Discord.
Yeah.
Or at least in terms of videos and such. I can't keep up with all the discussions and such, but I'll keep up with the videos and like what gets posted to the archives.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I mean, I built my main storage almost out of necessity as well, and it's pretty basic. Even still, it's kind of just like a just like a storage hallway with a bunch of normal item sorters, but there's always room for improvement with like storage systems, and there's always like there's almost always more you can do to make it better. But
I know, and that's been like the trap I've been in, because it's just like, when I started on my storage system project, I didn't know that much. I didn't really know that much and such. And since then, I've gained experience in like the storage tech space. It's just like even over the last 2 years, there's been amazing developments in redstone technologies for storage related stuff. So it's just like, there's all you got, like all these wonderful contraptions to pull from, and it's just like you get to a point where you're working on your thing, and you're just like, this is obsolete. This thing I'm working on is obsolete because there's so much better tech out there. So you end up like restarting development, and then you keep doing that over and over. I think to some extent on EndTech, and that the binary storage project is kind of undergoing that same thing, because people keep on figuring out better and better ways of doing things. I don't think the binary storage project has had a hard restart though. It's been like soft restarts. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's like what's so interesting about storage tech is that, like at the base of it, you're finding ways to automatically handle all the items in the game normally, and like so it's sort of the backbone of a world or a server is having like a good storage system to handle all the items, because if you have that, then you have a good like you have a good platform to like work off of, and if you can have it all sorted out properly and easy access to everything, and you don't have to worry about it, kind of thing, it's a huge step forward.
Yeah, agreed. And it saves, like, having a storage system saves so much time that you would normally spend like sorting your stuff. Unless since if you're just a naturally disorganized person where you just throw stuff everywhere, in which case I imagine that's even more of a pain and such, if anyone out there is like that. But um, yeah, a storage system ends up it. I would say like on tech servers, it's basically a must. Like if you're a tech server, you don't have a storage system ends up built up, even if it's a crappy one, it will do better than no storage system. Like on EndTech and such, after season one accidentally got yeeted, uh, during the process of like seed finding for the season 2 world, um, and myself and along with and a lot of other EndTech members, we're all working together like for a month straight on not central storage, and that storage system isn't a perfect storage system. It's actually pretty flawed, and it's kind of laggy. It has some quirks and issues and some reoccurring problems with it, but at the same time it is so much better than the alternative of manually handling your items. And on EndTech we had that experience. We did not have a storage system like for on season 1 at all and such. We like it, because the justification was, now this sounds familiar given my single player storage system project. Binary storage was right around the corner. It's only going to be another 6 months.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that like a year and a half ago or something.
So why worry so much about a main storage when binary is like it's being worked on, it's coming.
Yeah, it's just like, a few months we'll have binary and such, so, why bother? It's on like a temporary storage system. But, with the start of the new map, it's been to where it's just like, well, truthfully and such, it's just like, even if say binary storage was going to be ready within 6 months of having restarted our world, which I don't think it will be. But even if into that would be the case, for those like first 6 months, it'd still be highly beneficial to have a storage system.
Yeah.
And like I said, the biggest benefit to it is the time savings and such. It's just like you're not manually sorting stuff. It handles most of the work for you, so you can go ahead and do more important things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's like metaphorical, like stepping stones that you could take. You could go and manually sort things for however long until you're fully ready, or you can build something that's pretty good. So that's kind of a stepping stone to make things easier, so you can get to your final project a lot more efficiently.
Yeah, and if there's anything like anyone could take from listening to this, like from my experience and also with EndTech and such, when it comes down to storage tech, if you're like starting a new single player world, I would say as soon as possible, once you got the materials, go ahead and build like multi-item sorter V4, for example, because that will be so much better of experience than manually sorting all of your stuff.
Yeah. Now that's the one by Rapscallion?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one's really good, and I've seen that one being used a lot in different Let's Plays and stuff, and that one is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great storage system. It sorts at nearly Hopper speed, doesn't require slot reservation. It's a really nice and it's a really nice piece of storage technology. Hence the reason why I'm going to be using it for my storage system project, unless something better comes out, and then I wipe the slate clean again and start anew once more.
Like multi-atom sorter V5.
Yeah,
You get
I've heard, I saw it teased and such. Supposedly it's like one wide tileable, so that's like, geez, that's gonna be I didn't see any information if it would be like near Hopper speed or not, but even if it was like half Hopper speed or even less than that, to have something that's one wide tileable, that kind of density is pretty impressive. So, you know, I think they're still like in the prototype phase though, so it's probably gonna be a while before we see that come out.
yeah, yeah. Well, so that's kind of the what's most exciting to you about the future of your world, but what excites you the most about the future of Minecraft, like as a whole?
Um, let's see. As a whole, well, I guess like in the short term, when it comes down to like 1.17, for example, you know, obviously farmable shulkers is a major thing, and I'm so glad that's coming into vanilla Minecraft.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, Another thing is just like recently in the recent snapshot, the moss block. I'm looking at that and wondering like, can passive mobs spawn on that or not? I
Mm.
hope they cannot. I hope it's the case that they can't, because I'm kind of like, I got an issue in my single player where I'm just like, I don't want to like degrass into my spawn chunks, but at the same time, at some point, I'm gonna have to passive mob spawn proof it. And
Yep.
now I'm kind of looking at the moss block, and it's just like, this is pretty similar looking to grass. Maybe I should replace all the grass with those moss blocks.
Yeah.
If it prevents passive mob spawning, then that's probably what I'll use those for. And of course, there's the axolotl. The axolotl's cute and such. It's adorable.
Yeah. And it attacks guardians.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you can also bone meal unless I'm thinking of the wrong block, I think you can bone meal the moss block and it just kind of spreads. But I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see a snapshot, like you bone meal the moss block and it like spreads around to other stone or dirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess in general, like beyond like revealed features for 117, um, stuff I'd like to see would be obviously movable block entities in vanilla. I think I think those really should be in vanilla. I mean, they're in Bedrock Edition. Why don't we have them over here in Java
Yep.
and such? But yeah, I would hope and such, when and if, it's probably more a case of when when we get movable block entities, I would hope Mojang adds non-movable variants of those block entities, because I know there's some contraptions that rely on, like, say, your hoppers and chests not being movable. So it would be nice to have non-movable variants of those blocks.
Right. So you don't accidentally just start pushing stuff around.
Yeah, like for example, Pow Pow's double speed Shulkerbox loader / item sorter and such. Pretty old piece of storage technology. It's actually what I was starting out with for my storage system project, but with movable block entities enabled in carpet mod, it breaks because it it pushes the hopper and such ends of out, and it just breaks it and such. But yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I guess I guess that ties into like my storage system project again, and so I'm just like looking into the future. I feel like movable block entities are going to come at some point, so I'm making sure that I'm designing everything to be MBE compatible, but not require them in order to function. So that way, like if I were to like turn on movable block entities in carpet mod right now, the stuff and if I build for my storage system wouldn't break with it. So hopefully that'll make hopefully that'll mean that my storage system can last a good long time, because yeah.
Yeah. I felt like designing a storage system that's like that you would try to future proof is almost the same as like building a computer that's future proof. It's like, well, it's mostly future proof, until this comes out or if this changes.
Yeah, sort of and such. I'm kind of trying to look into the future and like extrapolate. Like my biggest concern for my source system project is the number of items in the game and such. Every update keeps adding so many items to the game, which is wonderful. I like having all these items, but at the same time, it presents an issue with when it comes down to sword systems. But fortunately, that's like an issue that the multi-item sorter, for example, end up solves. So yeah, the days of having like exclusively chest hauls and such with fixed item sorting, I think into those days are fairly numbered, into if already passed, because there's just so many items in the game. I feel like it just makes so much more sense to build category sorters such as multi-item sorter v4.
Oh yeah.
And gives you a lot more future expandability and such.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about the item filter like allocating a whole double chest for just this item. You can kind of just
Yeah, you can just add it to the existing category and
right.
make sure obviously you got enough categories going into the future. I'm hoping the magic number for that is 72 and such. 72 multi-item sorter v4s. I'm like projected to you probably have like 24 of them unused when I build my sword system. So I'm hoping 24 multi-item sorters will be good to grow into for the next like 3 to 5 years of game updates, hopefully. But who knows? Like in 3 years' time and such, there's probably gonna be all this new storage tech. There'll be new redstone components, and who knows? I might be ripping stuff out and upgrading it.
Yeah. Or just have one you can just keep expanding on somehow.
Yeah. Although for what I got in mind with my base design and such, and where I want to put my storage system, the amount of room that I have is going to be finite. So I do need to kind of I do need to plan ahead some to make sure I got some extra room in case I need to put in more stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a battle of like, how much stuff can I fit into the smallest space possible.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's all the questions I had, man. Did you have anything that you wanted to add? Or-
Um, hmm. I don't know. And so kind of on the spot here. I didn't really think about much about this. I guess since of my curiosity would be, hmm, like what would you consider? Well, I know it's a hmm. Oh dang, I'm trying to think. As if what would be an interesting question.
No, you're good.
I guess it's a like the question I was thinking of and such was like what would be your plan? What are your plans for your single player into the future, like the far future even and such? I know like currently you're doing your on the base with like these alien shapes and such.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what, like, I have a lot more either in my head or like in different like private Discord channels, just like mapped out with the futurist stuff. But so, and I definitely understand when you say like you wish you could have been more productive, because I feel that way so much, because I'm like there's so much stuff that I want, like I wish I could show off that I want to do, but it's just gonna take so much time. But that's kind of the, yeah, like I want to expand the base area where all those like, you have like the main mothership, and then you have like other ships that stem off from that, that all have their own like little farms in them that hopefully don't cause too much lag, but try and have just stuff kind of extending off of the that main area. And then the like, for example, the next episode that I plan on releasing is gonna be about like perimeters that I'm digging in the world. That'll obviously take a while since I'm digging all of them. And then there's stuff that I wish I could do for spawn that that'll just take a while. And definitely plan on keeping the world like updated to the latest release, if I can, unless it breaks something detrimental. And definitely upgrading the main storage, because like I said, I kind of built that out of necessity because I didn't want to have to manually deal with a bunch of items. So like upgrading that to where it's not just a chest haul, like your average chest haul.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep building more farms, and try and come up with my own stuff if I can. But it's just
Yeah.
it's so tempting to use other designs that are so well fleshed out already for farms.
Mm. Yeah. I myself I know I generally like if someone's already, built a perfectly fine wheel, I generally don't go ahead and like reinvent the wheel myself. I'm just kind of like, I'll just use this and dress it up how I want.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this with me.
mhm. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Mhm.
All right, see you, man.
Bye.